Ruddy Nora, everybody. Ruddy bloody Nora. The drama in the football world this weekend. We will get to AFCON later in the show. But
how's your giddy aunt?
I don't think I've ever known her that giddy.
Did you use the red telephone you've got for emergency giddy aunt telephone responsibilities when things happen?
It's a lovely old reference, that.
Yeah, it is. I imagine she's still just jiggling with all the giddiness.
Careful. Let's not sexualise it.
I'm not the one sexualising that, am I?
It's Blue Monday.
People can jiggle in a
very Blue Monday
perfectly non-sexual way.
Jim, Blue Monday doesn't mean that. It's not a sexual day.
Oh dear! I think after that, every aunt in the land was giddy.
Yeah. Every African aunt.
Well, I tell you, I think the Earth axis
could
moved
have
that little
shifted.
bit quicker.
Yeah,
I think it did. My goodness!
So as a result, we're doing that at the end.
We are duty bound to get through a load of Premier League nonsense.
Get out of the way.
Indeed, yeah. So do bear with us.
Stuart Foot, get out of the way.
But before we get started, I want to remind you that your enjoyment of the Football Ramble doesn't have to be limited to listening to the podcast. If you sign up to the Football Ramble WhatsApp channel, we'll send you exclusive behind-the-scenes content straight from Ramble HQ. I promise you'll get to see some of our best work. No penises will be seen, okay?
Well, probably not, no.
Yeah.
Not these days. Not in today's climate.
Until we can involve one of them in some of our best work.
Exactly.
Yeah. So no guarantees.
Speaking of that, we used to do a little video like that.
Oh, yeah.
A little kind of, the video you're kind of talking about that we have on the WhatsApp channel now. We used to do one of those for social media every episode, didn't we?
That's right.
And I found one in my phone over the weekend in my memories.
Yeah.
And it was after Yogi Love did the old scratch and sniff.
Yes.
And the video we did was me standing there and Pete scratching my balls and smelling them.
Yeah, Charlie.
Yeah. And I realised when I looked on my phone the amount of takes we had to do for that. And it involved basically Pete scratching my nuts over 30 times. So who knows what will be seen on there this time.
Yeah. Some of our best work.
I would say it's probably our very best work.
Click the link in the show notes to get involved.
We also did one on Valentine's Day where we staged you and Pete having a snog. And me and Jim walking in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely
Valentine's
stuff. Well, maybe we can do more of that or less of that, depending on what the people want.
Love is love.
You don't know what you're going to get.
La. Now,
I want to clarify that. I mean, you don't know what you're going to get on the Football Rumble WhatsApp channel, not with love.
No.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes with love, you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Maybe if you kiss Pete, you don't know what you're going to get either.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you can have a good guess.
Manchester United 2, Manchester City 0.
This was exceptional.
Rolling back the years.
They really were.
It's a bit simply read. Mick Hucknall's a Man United fan as well.
As we know. Michael Carrick's first game in his latest spell as interim head coach of Manchester United resulted in a fine victory. Some Man United friends, supportive friends of mine, were saying, I've not enjoyed them that much for years.
I'm not surprised.
It was sensational. I mean, they scored 5, got 3 with disallowed for offside. Now, that's the rules. They shouldn't count.
But they were all marginal.
Marginal, exactly. It shows you that, and the point of that is, as you say, it's marginal. So therefore, they were breaking City down and so on and so forth. I mean, this is night and day, absolute night and day. Do you see that? Play a back 4, stick Bruno Fernandes in number 10, and you're away.
So don't overthink it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do not overthink it.
Sensational stuff.
I said on Friday that essentially they've barely had any time, so it's just vibes. And my God,
the vibes are good.
Who knew that Michael Carrick was such a vibes merchant?
Well, is it because Vitushan Handaraja has returned?
Fucking Bruno Mars.
Yeah, Bruno Fernandes. Is it because, Jim, that Vish is back in the kingdom? He is back on the show later this week.
Yeah.
But
it can't be a coincidence. It just cannot be a coincidence.
No, it wouldn't make sense for that to be a coincidence.
No, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Because he goes to Australia, England win a test match in Australia for the first time. Yes, they got gubbed, but still, there was a flicker.
Not for the first time. First time in a while.
Exactly, yeah.
But I think the stall was set out early, wasn't it, after 10 minutes when Diogo Dalot tried to commit common assault on Jeremy Doku.
Yeah.
And this is how it's going to go today, lads. And then the stage was set, wasn't it?
That was a red card, wasn't it?
I don't know.
You're not sure?
It wasn't forceful, was it?
It was high and in a dangerous area on his leg, though, wasn't it? I know what you mean, like, in terms of it, even in real time, it doesn't look as forceful as some of those like nasty challenges do.
They look for any excuse to give that as a red.
But I think it's
so it can't have been that bad.
Well, they said it was a glancing sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Doku was lucky it was glancing.
But it's dangerous at that in that area,
I mean,
right?
Alan Shearer was fuming. He thought it was a red card all day long.
Alan Shearer kicked Neil Lennon in the face.
Yeah, but that that doesn't mean he's incapable of assessing other situations, does it?
I'm just saying it's a very experienced opinion. It's an experience-based opinion.
Yeah, but Alan Shearer wasn't asked his opinion on that particular incident.
What do you reckon his opinion would have been?
I think at the time he would have probably said, I'm untouchable, so sod off.
Yeah.
But perhaps with retrospect, he probably thinks he got lucky not being sent off there.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is he thought on this particular incident that it was a red card. I have an enormous amount of sympathy with those who also thought it was a red card.
Oh, I don't. I mean, I do care because I like football and I like doing the show. But in terms of the actual incident, I don't actually have a vested interest in it being a red or not. I don't actually care. I just thought, I mean, if it was given as a red, it's not going to be overturned. If it's given as a booking, fine. I mean, it wasn't. I don't think it was a massive inflection point on the game.
I'm surprised. Okay. Well, look, it wasn't given, but it was hugely controversial.
Yeah.
My guess would be a majority of people would think that was a red.
I think Pugmore will say in about 2 months' time that it should have been a red.
Through Michael Owen.
Feels like one of those. Through Michael Owen. Yeah. Just so no one cares.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Pugmore, it's almost like the Official Secrets Act, isn't it? You've got what is it?
Certain
Official Secrets Act is 50 years or something like that.
I think it's something like that, yeah.
Pugmore is 2 months.
If and when we're dragged into a war, they should get Michael Owen to announce it. So everyone just like, oh yeah, fine.
It's brilliant.
Right. I'm not even listening. I'm just not taking this in. It's so boring.
It's an act of genius to get Michael Owen to do that show because people just switch off before the end of every sentence. They can't engage. So yeah, they probably should get him to deliver that news.
You just come away with it with a sense that something isn't quite right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So look, that's the red card incident out the way.
If you guys think it's a red card, I'm fine with that.
Fine. But really, so a lot of people, as I say, Man City fans would be quite unhappy with that. So but that aside, the performance and Kobbie Mainoo got his first Premier League start of the season. First start of the season, bearing in mind how badly they've struggled at times. Okay, the points tally isn't dreadful, etc., etc. But the fact is, it's his first league start of the season. David Cartledge suggested that Carrick might try and shoehorn him in when we were talking about this on the Friday show. But he slotted in there.
Yeah.
And that midfield of Casemiro, Mainoo and Bruno Fernandes, dare I say, a bit of balance in there.
Incredibly well balanced. And also, I think a big part of how and why Man United won this game was that they just worked so much harder than City. And those three were the engine room of that, really. They really, really kind of set the agenda. And it felt like it was going to be one of those games where, we've seen this sort of thing happen so many times where, United have a couple of goals ruled out for offside and they're tight offsides and you can see that they're getting in behind that line. But Donnarumma's having a brilliant game and you're thinking this is going to be one of those where they nick a goal or they just craft a goal out of nothing rather than nick one and then City just go on to win it. But
they were never in it, Man City.
No, well, that's it. Those moments never came, did they? They never got a foothold in the game. And they were kind of just not sluggish, but I think you can see that Man United have had the time off that they've had. There was a freshness to them that not very many teams have at the moment because there's such a fixture pile up for a huge amount of teams. And I mean, United used every advantage they had really, really well. And one of those was freshness. I think when you're playing for a new manager, obviously you're going to get a little bit of that. There's a lot of symptoms of a new manager bounce here, but it was
because old Misery Guts has gone and then they've got someone who isn't in.
But also there is a lot to be said for the simplification of things. When Mainoo played, it was his first league start, but he started the game against Brighton alongside Ugarte behind Fernandes, and he was poor, right? He got subbed off, he didn't really do anything, couldn't get into the game. He's been out a long time, we understand he's a young man as well. And so it still, on one level, looks like an easy win to get the crowd favourite, the youth team prospect, the guy who's exploded onto the scene originally in there. That gives you a good feel-good factor if you're a Man United fan going to the game and seeing him in there because you've been crying out for him. But you don't automatically know he's going to be great. I think for Casemiro next to him rather than Ugarte, who's a tremendously limited player in my view in the Premier League, Ugarte, makes a difference. But the one thing that was super encouraging for Man United fans wasn't just all the things you guys have said, which I agree with. It's the nature of the Mbeumo goal.
Yeah,
the way they scored that was like vintage counter-attacking United, like a tribute act to the best Ferguson years, right?
Scintillating.
Wayne Rooney said on Match of the Day that's the Man United DNA that they've been talking about, and that, as you say, that was an undeniable facet of Man United's play. In the past, it was really, it did roll back the years, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, it was scintillating. As you say, the pace of the move, and when they've strode forward like that, they weren't going to be denied. I mean, having Mbeumo and Diallo back from AFCON, by the way, has given them a lift.
Absolutely
Well. I
massive.
understand they've been
Absolutely
there
massive.
earlier in the season as well, but that's given them a lift. But you're right, that when that goes in, and the ball crashes into the net and the stadium erupts. That stadium sounded and felt, not that I was there, but you could just feel it from the TV and from a lot of accounts from people who were there, that it felt and sounded like it did in the years gone by. One area of the pitch that I want to highlight as well that Manchester United were excellent in, we've talked about the midfield going forward. We were saying how Man City didn't really offer anything. One of the reasons for that was how good Man United were at the back.
Yeah, Maguire and Martinez.
Big old Harry Maguire and Martinez in there. Just they shepherded Erling Haaland all day long. Who I wouldn't blame him totally because it's the rest of the team and we know that he's going to rely on service a lot. But at the back, like it is. I mean, I think it's one game. I understand that. Okay, and they've had a fair few false dawns. In the last handful of years. But I think that people may already be saying this, but I think given a bit of time, I think we'll look at this Amorim period as perhaps
the worst.
The worst one since Ferguson. Yeah. And you know what? Part of the reason is because Amorim kept saying that himself.
Since Ferguson, you think? I thought Ferguson was good, actually. I thought he did pretty well.
I mean, Amorim is unquestionably, if you look at all the data, he is the worst manager they've had.
But I think the problem was that he kept reinforcing this. And quite clearly, that reaction from the players, you don't get that unless the players are like, thank goodness there's a new regime. I understand Fletcher.
But they were fighting here and there under Amorim. They'd have a result where we'd sit in here on the Monday and say, they wouldn't have done that if they weren't playing for Amorim. They got
their pride to play, and I understand. Darren Fletcher was in charge for sort of a couple of games, but okay, maybe I'm getting a bit too carried away there. Fair enough.
No, I think there's an interesting thing happening with Man United, and that was actually true for a lot of this season under Amorim as well. Which is, even though they're sat sixth in the table, and you expect a lot more of Man United traditionally and historically. They're not the Man United of last season. They're not going to finish anywhere near 15th, are they? Clearly, so I think they're underestimated a lot, despite that kind of being reasonable because you expect a Man United team to be challenging for titles and whatnot. So I think they're actually kind of using that quite well. They're not used to being underdogs.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, it is kind of an advantage at the moment, and I also think Martinez is a massive boost having him back. But he's a very versatile defender.
Well, he is. I think that Man United in fifth, they're a point off Liverpool in fourth. Right? I don't think they're going to finish above the way Villa have been playing and Man City. They could get into the top four. I mean, the season is a bit mad right now. I understand that Fulham in 11th, despite losing, they are 5 points off fourth. So it is crazy in there, and a positive result and a negative one and whatnot can you can go up and down. With Manchester United under Amorim, though, when all's said and done, quite clearly that formation wasn't happening, and whatever the reasons for that. You'd glance at other teams who, like even Fulham themselves. I've watched Fulham. Silva, most of the time it is a back four. Sometimes he goes, actually, you know what, we're going to play a 3-4-3 today, and we're going to mix it up, and they play quite well. Whatever was happening under Amorim, and much has been said of it, and I don't want to go too much on that. Look, you've said it. It was complicated. The players weren't responding to it, and he'd had enough time. Carrick comes in now. Carrick now has a chance of, what has he got? 17 games left or 16 games?
16 games now.
No midweek fixtures or anything like that. Well, unless it's a Premier League game, of course. He's got time to plan for games. He's got a squad which will be a lot happier within themselves after that performance and what they're capable of. And Carrick himself, I know very few people will be thinking of that. He's got a chance to really show everybody what he can do, and it is almost an audition for the job.
Absolutely.
Let's be, because if they were to win the majority of those games, it would give the board a bit of a question to answer.
Well, they'd also absolutely make a crazy decision to give him it.
Yeah.
Even though he's not qualified for the job.
Well, at the time of recording,
but then having said that, they've tried every type of manager anyway. So it's a lot of this stuff's about timing, isn't it? He's tried every type of manager, every type of kind of, tactician or player whisperer type or experienced serial winner, and they've not
bloke
really,
with glasses. They tried that.
Yeah, Specs. They've tried Specs. He's got a little bike as well now.
Have they tried someone like England did when they hired Southgate, someone who doesn't really want the job?
Well, possibly. I mean, obviously, everyone wants a Man United job, but like Carrick is probably the nearest thing to a Southgate. You'd probably get. But look, maybe that. My point just being that the end of the season, whichever the wrong decision to make is, they will make it because they're terrible at that. And
so if he wins all the next 16 games, they'll sack him. No, we don't need you. Well, whatever it is, they'll do it wrong.
Okay, but put it this way, right? if they win every single game,
Yeah.
and they finish second,
Yeah.
right?
They'll sack him.
Ancelotti comes out of Brazil. Who would they hire?
Yeah. Sir Alex Ferguson was watching the game from the stands. That was nice to see, wasn't it, Luke?
Yeah, it's always the same.
Do you feel
Do you
though
think
like
he filled the fridge with milk? I
Well,
think that's where this
I wanna
performance
put
came
Roy
from.
Keane was fuming.
So I have a a theory on this, and it does involve Sir Alex Ferguson's teat once again.
Good, always great to
Because
hear.
I suspect that because it was so miserable under Amorim, I think maybe he shunned the teat. And the
Maybe
other
he
managers, there was a little bit of a suckle here and there, and they got a little bit, but it wasn't quite enough, and so on. Carrick's clearly had an enormous suck.
Which will probably affect the quality of the milk, right?
Well, I would have thought so. But so for a while, no one was.
So I think it goes. There's a spectrum,
Right.
I think you've got Amorim over here, who's refusing to acknowledge the teat.
Hence the quotes. Because people said he shunned the history and the character of the club.
Yeah, exactly.
And it has
But
to
the
be.
spectrum runs all the way across. So you've got Amorim there refusing to acknowledge the
We
teat.
all know he's the other side.
Solskjaer's on the knob. Of
course he is.
Isn't he? He's on the cock, Solskjaer. And
You're not getting any milk there.
yeah, wow, maybe not these days. Carrick's probably giving a good old suckle on it.
Well, I think Carrick thought, okay,
Because I saw before the game,
Yeah.
when the camera shows them turning up, getting off the bus or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
I saw Ferguson turn up,
right.
and he had Carrick over his shoulder
There you
with
are.
a little muslin
There
cloth.
you are,
He
you
was just
see.
burping him on his shoulder.
Yeah, exactly.
Little milk moustache.
Yeah, he knew he was sucking on him.
Yeah.
So that's probably going to be part of it.
Yeah. Well, if the reserves are plentiful, then more of this, I think, we could see from Carrick and his band of very merry men after what was a sensationally good Manchester United performance, and really 2-0 flattered Man City. But we've spoken about that. A little mention for Arsenal. Drew 0-0 with Forest. Ultimately disappointing. Should they have had a penalty? There was a bit of chat about that.
So I watched this game in a noisy pub with bad sightlines. When I first saw it, I thought, oh yeah, surely that's a handball, because it looked like he'd essentially just kind of like cushioned the ball and kept it in with his arm. And then when I saw a bit more, sort of better angle of it, there is a push into Aina, and that the rule is in place, isn't it, about the natural position and all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, those caveats are enough for me to think that this isn't as clear cut as it first appeared to me.
I just
Luke,
don't.
do you agree with Sean Dyche when he says you might as well cancel football if you're going to give that?
It's annoying because
You're going to agree with him?
Because I think when you see Sean Dyche walking up to the little pedestal at the side of the pitch after the game with a grin on his face on telly, your heart just fucking sinks. Oh God, what's he going to come up with now? But I do agree with him on this. I think I have a dog in this fight. I don't particularly care about Arsenal or Forest, but I don't think we want to see penalties given for that, do we?
No, I don't think
It's not like it's a slap off the line, is it?
No, if that's what handball is now,
I agree with you.
I think it's a little bit of a shame.
Yeah.
That's not the story for me. I mean, the Martinelli miss is the one that sticks in my mind. That was a kind of surrealist expression of a shot.
Yes.
Which was extremely frustrating.
Wish he had done that against Pompey.
Yeah, I mean,
he did.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, he had a
Still
couple of
managed to help
those,
himself
actually.
to three,
There
didn't
was
he?
a similar one against Pompey, wasn't there, actually? But yeah, it was a day of missed chances for Arsenal, which I think is the narrative there.
But I think you know what? Look, people are talking about whether this is, is this a great standard? Pete's famous a few times now. He doesn't think the league's that good, and Marc has said today, fairly, there's a team down in 11th who are only a handful of points off of 4th or whatever, right?
Yeah, that's Fulham, by the way.
It is Fulham,
and they lost.
Don't forget him. Yeah, but ultimately, Arsenal could get up around 90 points this season.
Yeah,
right. That's great.
It's about being consistent, isn't it?
And I think an away draw against a team who are fighting really hard. And Arsenal need to be able to deal with the idea now as well, by the way. Particularly with a Sean Dyche type team. You're coming to town, it's going to be like a very, very big game for the team you're coming to. The fans are going to be up for it. You're going to have to work hard to break teams down. Liverpool found it. Liverpool haven't beaten the promoted teams at home for the first time in like 45 years or something, because these teams really want to set up to make it hard for you. You know what it reminds me of? This is a stretch, but you'll like it. When Portsmouth were in League Two.
It's a stretch.
Massive team to be in League Two, and every single game was a total grind, because like you'd have teams, small teams, you'd be like, right, great, Pompey are coming. We're going to make it difficult for them. They fought so hard for so many years to get out of League Two. And when you're trying to win a league, it's a bit like that. When you're the standout team in the league, these teams aren't going to roll over for you. So I don't think an away point is a bad thing generally in the Premier League. unless you're playing someone who's historically bad.
Was this the weekend that Arsenal threw away the league title when they went 7 points clear?
Yeah.
That seems how people are framing it.
Narrative, isn't
it?
They
put a point on Villa and City.
Yeah, but it's just because of how the last 3 seasons have gone, and this will be the narrative right until the end. That is something they have to live with. And I think, to be fair, they are dealing with fairly well.
I'm really surprised. I think it's probably because he scored the other day. I'm really surprised that he's not just throwing Havertz in as soon as he can. Arteta
it's
loves
got to be
Havertz,
a fitness thing. It's got to be.
Has to be. Gyökeres in that breakaway, that did not look good. Yeah. The optics of that were very, very poor.
Leave Big Vic alone. He's suffered enough. Well, anyway, Arsenal, 7 points clear when all said and done. Coming up after this is Oliver Glasner trying to get sacked by Crystal Palace. Sunderland 2, Crystal Palace 1. Sunderland came back from a goal down to beat poor old Palace. Some lovely goals in this game. Brian Broby's winner was a nice finish. Jeremy Pino with a delightful goal.
He'll do that. He will do that.
It was such a little deft touch, as was Broby's as well.
He had a lot of criticism after the Macclesfield game, Pino, didn't he? So he owes them that, I think. I know he scored the free kick in the game, but he was, he was a bit of a lightning rod after it. So that's welcome.
Another loss that should another 2-1 loss with Pino scoring what ultimately was a consolation.
Yeah, you're right.
There you go.
Did you?
Everyone's happy.
Did you hear the chat about Marc Guehi around that Macclesfield game? I found that really interesting.
When he was chatting to the fans,
and he came out after. No. Apparently before the game,
he was like, "Do you think I should go Liverpool or Man City?"
yeah.
Where would you like me to go?
He went into the Macclesfield dressing room. Sorry to direct your team talk.
Yeah.
But I've got a bit of a dilemma.
Well, to be honest with you, if we can finish fourth, Liverpool are more our rivals this season. If you go to Man City.
Yeah. I know, I was reading, it only came out a few days after the game, that it might have been the Macclesfield captain, certainly one of the Macclesfield players, said that they bumped into Marc Guehi,
right,
and asked him if just the general stuff, is the pitch all right for you? You're happy and everything. And apparently Guehi was like, don't like this pitch. Do not like this pitch.
Was he?
Not very happy about playing on this pitch. And actually really and the player went straight, he claims, he went straight back into the Macclesfield dressing room and just told them all. And they were like, they don't fucking fancy it.
No.
Yeah.
And I just
you can understand with the fake pitch.
If that's true, and Crystal Palace fans won't have a problem with this because he's about to fuck off anyway. But if that's true, I just think that's quite an extraordinary thing in retrospect, quite an arrogant thing actually, to say ahead of a game.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Where you're the captain of the club and you're supposed to be, I just think that was a really strange thing to see.
Indeed, you've got to be statesman-like. You're like, well, whatever we've got to play on, that's
we're
what
all playing
we're
on the same pitch, lads.
Exactly,
we're
that kind of stuff.
We're all playing on the same one. So
yeah, we are a Premier League side. We should be okay today.
Yeah.
But they lost that. They lost this one.
What a week or two for Palace it's been.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, it's funny how football can
They've
kick you in the
reverted
arse.
to type. They were saying a lot of Palace fans.
A lot of fans of various clubs think that they're always going to come out the wrong side of things, don't they?
Because most clubs do.
Yeah. But
that's the reality.
But this is a spectacular concentration of it, though, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. I think
out the cups and. out of the FA Cup is a mild way of putting it. Of course, one of the greatest
on the
upsets.
end of the worst upset of all time, arguably.
And then losing your manager and one of your very, very best players.
While also
after you've already lost one in the summer.
And Jean-Philippe Mateta also seems to be in the shop window.
Yes, at the time of recording, Glasner's still Crystal Palace manager. So again, another thing we need to say for.
But they could be in a situation where inside a year from that FA Cup win, or around a year, they've lost their best attacking player, their striker, their best defender, and their manager.
Yeah,
yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, it's a sickener. Glasner's comments were, there for everybody to see. I mean, he said, your heart gets torn out twice in a season. One day before a big game, it's tough to survive, and that's how it feels.
Yeah.
We feel that we are being abandoned with no support. Obviously, that was in the context of Marc Guehi going a day before the Sunderland game, which presumably they would have trained and he would have been a part of those plans.
But also it's because he didn't make a sub. He felt he couldn't because essentially the bench was full of youth players. And that's what he's talking about, isn't he? Saying, we've been abandoned,
players in the squad,
no support. And that's massive.
And he also said that some players have played 35 games already this season. Glasner is very aware that Crystal Palace this season have found themselves in a position where they're playing European football. They are among the favourites for the Europa Conference League. That they can and one might argue should, as much as one can argue that, win that competition. You win that competition, you're in Europa League. There's a bit of assumption there, I understand. In the Premier League, it's it's up for grabs. I understand that they've dropped off. They haven't won in the last 6. They're on 28 points, which means they're 7 points off 5th. Right? The way they've been playing, the way they've been going. fans get a little bit annoyed when you have a little flicker of a chance to kick on. It's very, very difficult to do that. I understand, and you've got no God-given right to be a mid-table Premier League side. I know that as a Fulham fan. Palace fans will know that about their club as well. They've been up and down a bit over the years. So for them to have won the FA Cup, the first major trophy in their history, to suddenly have this kind of season, you're like, bloody hell. It just looks like what Glasner's saying and what I'd imagine some of those fans are feeling as, we've just chucked it all away.
Yeah.
And the sale of Guehi, that to me, in the context of it, to me, it feels a little bit unambitious. And the reason I say that is if you sell him, last summer, say, and you get a huge fee, previous window, Newcastle United were win for him for 65 million, I think, something around that. I understand for a club Palace's size, 65 million is not to be sniffed at. So one has to have, a foot in reality without getting too misty-eyed and romantic about everything. They sell Eza, so that was the cash cow. This stage in the season, I just wonder why you're going to sell Guehi. People say, but you've got the cash in hand. Well, okay, but you've also got a chance to finish the season. Each place in the Premier League is worth money. I understand it's not worth 20 million quid, but you've got that going on. You could win the Europa Conference League. That is a very distinct possibility. You're then into European football the following season, a bigger competition, which arguably they should have been in this season.
Yeah.
You've got all that. It's a gamble, of course it is, but keep him. For
Absolutely.
my money, keep him.
I mean,
because go for that. And if you don't, you go, do you know what? We gave everything. And I think, especially fans like Palace fans, they'd understand that. Now it feels like, oh yeah, bollocks, we might as well just get as much as we can and revert to
ambition
it all.
Is not for
Totally.
us. Yeah, I mean, I'm no expert on Palace's finances. I'm no expert on my own finances. But I think the point you make about the prize money is a good one, because £20 million for Marc Guehi.
Plus add-ons and all that, I understand, but still.
It's short, but it is low given that element of risk, because you're right as well. Like, if they're going to have a proper tilt at winning the Conference League, which so far they're doing a terrible job of, you need him in there, or you need
you can't realistically get more than that from given the contract situation though, and you also
which I think means
free.
you wait to the summer.
Yeah, I do.
But you also don't know whether. And we had this conversation, Marcus, you and I, about Paquetá last week, right? So I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here, because Palace fans might know something that we don't. For all we know, Guehi's gone to the board and said, I don't know when I'm going to get this opportunity again. I want to go. The offer's there. I've accepted the offer. I've agreed terms. I don't want to risk getting injured and missing out on this move. He might have even seen Paquetá miss on his move to Man City for different reasons and be like, I don't want that to be me, right? So if he's decided that that's it for him, I just want to make it clear there's very little the club can do, and it's easy to criticise the club. A lot of time, clubs do run themselves terribly. We know that, and decisions are made that are poor. We don't know that to be the case here. And I think it might just be that Palace understand that the way they survive, the way they punch above their weight, the same way Brighton, Brentford, other teams do it, is you these players are going to go. And they have prepared for losing Guehi. They've brought in Lacroix. They've brought in a young JD Canvo. They brought in Riyad as well. They brought in 3 centre-backs in preparation for this. So they do kind of have preparations and plans in place. I want to get stuck into Glasner.
He's going to Man City, and Glasner is gutted and has announced. Apparently, the board didn't realise he was going to announce it, that he's going at the end of the season. And to be honest, he might even go before.
I think that they've said, haven't they, overnight, that they've had conciliatory chats and it's actually fine, and they expect him to be the one to lead them through to the rest of the season. Blah blah. I think Glasner's behaved appallingly here.
Yeah,
I think Glasner's outbursts. Not the first time he's done it. And the way there's an irony in it. There's an irony in you're complaining about the club saying that Guehi's going the day before a game at the same time that you're doing this without telling the board and announcing this stuff and talking about how pissed off you are and say you've been abandoned, you've got no support, and you, as a point of principle, I can't make any subs. Well, you can make subs. Right, I understand there's young players on the bench. I understand you haven't got an amazing amount of options, but you still can make subs. I mean, this is how players learn their trade. This is how players do well. This is how players have careers. You can give them the chance, and they might surprise you. So don't tell me you can't make subs. You're making a point, right? I feel quite strongly, actually, that fine, they've had the chat, and it's going to be, it'll be smoothed over maybe based on time recording. I fucking would have fired him. I would have fired him for that.
I think
they're not going to get relegated. I'd have fired him.
I think it's really
which costs more money,
damaging,
and that's another point of the Guehi thing. Sorry, Jim, is that you keep Glasner's sweet for a bit longer.
It doesn't cost him more money. It doesn't cost you more money if he's got another job lined up, which I think he might have.
Well, anyway, Jim, you were going to say. Sorry.
I think it's really damaging that he's essentially sort of shown how the sausage is made at Palace, right? Because, I mean, they're in a situation where they've managed to get a highly rated manager in Oliver Glasner. He's won the Europa League with Eintracht Frankfurt. It's not like they plucked some guy from obscurity. They've got a real get there. What is so important...
Could have got Ange another Europa League.
Well,
they might still.
Yeah. But what's important is that if they want to go down this road, is that they continue that, right? That they show themselves to be a club where you can do that. And you can come in and you can succeed and then maybe it can be a bit of a launch pad. That is a good position for them to be in. This outburst, it really undermines that. And I think it's poor.
Yeah, I do as well. But he knows the power he has. He knows that there's a strong argument that he's the greatest Palace manager of all time due to that FA Cup.
Because of that win. He wasn't backwards in coming forward and seeding out that he had turned down Bayern Munich and stuff as well. So he knows his value. I think he's got another job lined up. That's what I think.
Yeah. Would you like to speculate who?
Go on. I hope it's Portsmouth.
Bloody Laura.
No, I don't know where, but I think someone like that, the way he carries himself, the career he's had, I wouldn't be surprised if he's got something lined up.
Okay, interesting. Palace, 10 games without a win in all competitions. Whereas Sunderland, they cannot be beaten at home.
It's impossible to do it.
You just cannot do it. I mean, they were due a win, to be honest with you. It's the first win since the Derby win, of course, on the 14th of December. So they've gone a fair old time without it. And they're very much still in the hunt for European football, you would say, next season. And they've done all this with, of course, a fair few players missing who are away at the African Cup of Nations.
There's the link.
And that's where we go now.
We've all been building up to this. What a night.
Unbelievable.
What a night.
In the words of Richard Keys, I thought I'd seen just about everything.
Yeah.
So, if you haven't seen this, and I'm sure you have, whether you saw it in real time, like I bloody well did, or you saw it the next morning, whatever. The game finished 0-0 after 90 minutes. Senegal win it in extra time.
Largely uneventful.
Yeah, exactly. And thanks for listening to the Football Ramble. Well done to Senegal. We can all go home happy. So, I mean, we fast forward to injury time, and Senegal, actually, before we do that, Senegal should have really scored, you'd say, in the first half. A couple of great chances.
Bruno and the Morocco guy had a really good game.
He had a marvellous game. He's had a marvellous tournament, you'd say.
Yeah. Good kick.
Njai, had a chance. It's 0-0, not much has separated them. Morocco came back and were probably the better side in the second half. In the 92nd minute, Senegal scored, but the goal was ruled out due to a foul in the build-up. Now, actually, that's slightly misleading. The referee blew the whistle, so actually the goal was never scored. It wasn't a VAR situation, or it wasn't the whistle wasn't blown after the ball went in.
It's also worth noting that he blew the whistle quite a long time before the ball went in the net as well.
Yes, and the Morocco players, one or two of them looked like they'd sort of stopped, or certainly they'd heard the whistle quite clearly. So if you hadn't seen it, the header comes in, so the defender, I forget who it was, the Senegalese player, shoves Hakimi. Well, that's the accusation, it was a shove. It was a soft one. I felt the goal should have stood, but of course you can't VAR it because the referee blew very, very quickly.
He's made his decision. You can disagree with the decision, but if he thinks it's a foul, he thinks it's a foul.
You can't change the rules in the moment.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was a poor decision. I didn't think it was much of a foul. I can see where the referee's coming from. I didn't think it was an absolute shocker from the referee. I thought it was very, very soft. And if the passage of play then continued without the referee's whistle, Senegal felt they should have scored. But of course, that's not what happened. Now, there has been a lot of controversy, as there always is at international tournaments, particularly AFCON, with regard to refereeing and VAR decisions and so on and so forth. Morocco are the home side, of course. Senegal, for my money, are the best team in Africa at the moment. Well, they are. They've been crowned that. Yeah. But anyway, Morocco get the decision, and the goal. Well, the foul is given, and therefore the subsequent goal is therefore null and void completely because it wasn't a proper passage of play. Minutes after that, was it a corner that came in, Moroccan corner, and Brahim Díaz is just to have been fouled, and the referee didn't give it. VAR then says, right, have a look at this. And in the 98th minute, Morocco awarded a penalty. It's a very soft one. I don't think too many people would have given it.
I thought he threw him to the ground.
But there was contact. Again, Luke, there is something. It's not a dive. There's a little something there. No. I don't think it's enough for a penalty. It's an enormous decision.
It would have been easy for the ref to say no pen.
Yes, and then the accusations from a lot of people would say, but they're the home side, etc., etc., etc. People have been calling this decision, shouldn't have been given, and corruption, and all these kind of words have been bandied about, da-di-da-di-da. And then Senegal head coach Papi Thiaw tells his side basically to walk off the pitch in protest.
Which is totally unacceptable.
And this is it. I'm pleased for Brahim Díaz in a way that the headlines have been about that, because I've not seen anything like this before in a huge international tournament. A coach telling the players to walk off the pitch. In my mind, maybe I'm missing an obvious one here, but in my mind, looking at when I used to watch old videos of previous World Cups, there was a moment in, I think it was the '82 World Cup, Kuwait. Yeah, there you go. That was the Crown Prince,
yes, who was also the head of the Kuwaiti Football Association, who basically in quite a sinister way, made the manager pull the players off.
I was going to say,
it's slightly different.
It is a bit different, yeah. So this is what you do. This is basically unprecedented. So off they go. The minutes are ticking by, and I'm sitting there watching this. There's a lot of people. Your phone's going crazy with WhatsApp. Everyone's going, you're watching this. Everyone's thinking, well, what now? What if they don't come back? And I wonder if you get a decision now where if the manager pulls the players off the pitch like that, they forfeit the game.
Yeah, well,
there was a huge danger.
Feeling like a real possibility.
Apparently, Lille did it against Man United in the Champions League once.
Oh, did they?
Way back in the day, around a Ryan Giggs free kick. That's the only other thing I could find.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That was in France, wasn't it?
You're absolutely spot on. What should have happened is the referee or the fourth official, whoever is responsible, or even the the CAF official, I don't know who it would be, would I think be within their rights, and it should be part of the rules of the game to say, okay, you've got X amount of minutes to re-enter the field of play, or you forfeit the game.
That's right.
And it's on you.
Yeah, totally. And I think
you can't do that because you disagree with the referee.
Well, I think you're going to have to do that because again, even if the refereeing decision was like a shocker, like he's seen something that no one else, the human eye, cannot see, someone has to officiate the game. You can have your inquiries after and all that bollocks, but ultimately the old adage is the referee's decision is final. Now, for those who saw it, yeah, it's soft. Some people, like you, Luke, think, well, actually...
I thought he threw him to the ground.
There's contact there. Like I say, I think it's poor, and I wonder if the home advantage influenced him or not. I don't know, but I can see why he's given it. And if you can see why someone's given it, then, you have to have an ounce of sympathy there, perhaps.
Apparently it was Sadio Mane who got everyone back on the pitch.
He was, yeah.
He showed incredible leadership there,
He did.
actually. He was at one point, I think he was the only Senegalese player left out there.
Well, it was interesting.
The manager completely lost his head.
Absolutely. He was gone. Thiaw was gone. I mean, the post-match chat from Morocco head coach said, the image we've given Africa is shameful. A coach who asks his players to leave the field. What Pape did does not honour Africa. He already started this in the pre-match press conference. He wasn't classy. He stopped the match in the eyes of the world for 10 minutes. That didn't help Brahim. The excuse, we'll come to Brahim in a minute, but he said, this is disgraceful. Interestingly, Papa Guehi, who scored the brilliant Senegalese winner, saw it somewhat differently. He said, we felt injustice. There'd been a foul for us, and the referee chose not to look at the VAR. We were frustrated. But Sadio Mane told us to come back out on the pitch to remobilise. We took the decision to come back on the pitch and gave everything, which we did.
Yeah.
What what's the problem?
What are you worried about? What kind of worries me about this is that it plays into the thinking we see in football so much now, that there's always a conspiracy against you, and
just in life generally.
It's corrupt. Indeed. It's not just football, is it? Yeah, and it's a very sad expression Jim, of how many people feel that way.
What then came?
There's no excuse for this.
What then came?
My God.
Again, everybody. So your WhatsApp chats are filled, and everyone's going, I hope he misses, because wouldn't that be kind of interesting? Another half an hour of this, etc., etc. Brahim Díaz. Guillaume Balaguer wrote a nice piece on him on the BBC recently.
He's a great player, and he's had a brilliant tournament.
Had a brilliant tournament. I mean, top goal scorer. He won the Golden Boot. If he scores that goal, immortality.
Yeah.
He has been taken to the nation of Morocco. He's born in Spain, but due to family, I think he's I forget which side of the family, but
his father's Moroccan. Yeah.
So a very interesting family background. But he chose to represent Morocco. He'd played one game for Spain. He chose to go to Morocco. They'd been after him for a while. He goes there. He has, up until last night, became the golden boy of Moroccan football.
Yeah.
Morocco, a side who were going places.
With some really brilliant players in that team.
Brilliant players. First African team to get to a semi-final of a World Cup. They're hosting this tournament. They haven't won the tournament in, 50 years? They were on for it. They're one of the best sides in Africa. They'll give a good account of themselves.
And he's made the calculation of all that you've just taken into account. He's made the calculation. He's gone, Panenka.
Luke, I'm still not over it.
No, I'm not over it. And you know what is haunting me is he was obviously subbed pretty soon into the extra time that ensued.
Yeah.
And it's the 1,000-yard stare from him on the bench. It is like, my heart breaks for him. You know when your team lose or draw in quite annoying circumstances for whatever reason, and you wake up and you remember. You're like, imagine the feeling
Jim,
he had this morning when he woke up between that blissful moment where you can't remember and then it all coming crashing back down.
But I can't imagine. I mean, but the decision making. So you could argue that the whole atmosphere, because eventually he takes the penalty, and then Mendy's obviously in his face giving it plenty and so on. You think,
and he's delayed the penalty a few times, didn't he? Very smartly.
I mean, if he was on a booking, he probably could have got sent off. So again, a shithousery on a different scale, on an industrial scale. Diaz gets the penalty and puts it down. You could argue that the whole thing didn't affect him to do that, because if he blazes it over the bar or whatever, you kind of go, well, the atmosphere got to him.
He could have scrambled his brain. It's whichever way you slice it, it's a weird decision.
The only thing I can think is that he's thought, you know what, I'm going to embarrass them.
Yeah.
It's a ludicrous decision. I understand if it goes in, it's the ballsiest thing ever in the history of world football, you could argue. But the fact is, he makes that decision, and my heart breaks for him, because I wanted him to miss, because I wanted to see another half an hour. When all was said and done, I was glad Senegal won, because I think, well, was I? That's the thing. When all's said and done, I think I'd rather him score.
Well, yeah, because it's funny, isn't it? Senegal have essentially persevered through sulking.
Yeah.
Because I think it's if that penalty happens shortly after it's given, obviously we can't really know, but it feels like that scenario is going to be very different one way or another, right? That stoppage has obviously had an impact on Diaz.
I don't think you can root for Senegal after their behaviour.
Well, no, exactly.
And I think it's amazing that penalty was ended up being taken, I think, in the 111th minute.
Because I thought the decision was harsh and all the rest of it. And so you think, was justice done? But actually, I think you're right, Luke. I don't think it was. And with Diaz, again, when he collects his golden boot, the look on his face, it's tarnished. This is a guy
he's not present.
Yeah, he's the golden boy of Morocco. He's on every ad campaign. He's the golden boot winner. Every time he looks at that golden boot, it's tarnished. It's not like, as Englishmen, we know what it's like to have, guys who have big players. Harry Kane missed one. And you kind of go,
but
that's annoying.
Like this,
no, that's annoying, but he's tried. You can see what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
If he sticks it in row Z, you go, well, at least he's put. Honestly.
Did you see after the game when Pep Guardiola walked into the press conference, all the Moroccan journalists left as well?
Well, there was confrontations. Jonathan Wilson
between the journalists of Senegal.
They were. He said that actually Thiaw had to leave.
Oh, really?
This is going to go on and on and on.
Watch this space.
And Diaz has got to go back to Real Madrid now, and it's been reported in Spain that Real Madrid president Florentino Perez is hoping to bring Jose Mourinho in as coach.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
I mean, there is talk that Mourinho's trying to get himself sacked at Benfica, isn't he?
Yeah.
So more on that.
He's stopping his players sleeping.
Yeah,
amazing.
I mean, he won't have to stop Diaz from sleeping. Honestly, I was staring at the ceiling last night thinking about it.
Yeah,
I'm haunted by it myself. Bloody hell!
What an end to a great tournament, though.